to talk about today is, okay, let me just ask you a question and engage with me here, whether you're live or you're watching the replay. Have you ever wanted something, or maybe even someone so much that like you overdid it, right? Like you overdid it, you overpushed and pushed it or him, her away. Have you ever had that experience? What about this? Have you ever wanted something so much but gave up on it, gave up on pursuing it because it didn't happen soon enough, right? Whether that's the relationship, the weight loss, the business goal. Have you ever given up because it wasn't happening soon enough, or wasn't happening the way you wanted it to soon enough, or you weren't getting the result soon enough? What if, think about that, get something in your head, because we've all done it, right? And I'm going to share with you how I've done it in my life. Get that one thing or person in your mind right now, and then ask yourself, what if you did this instead, right? So instead of pushing so much that you overdid it, or quitting because it wasn't happening soon enough the way you wanted it, what if instead you did this? What if instead you slowed down, you made some adjustments, but you didn't stop? What if you just slowed down, made some adjustments, some minor tweaks, right? I kind of call it like dancing, right? Just kind of moving the shoulder one way, shifting the hips the other way, making adjustments. What if you slowed down but did not stop pursuing that goal? How might that have changed the outcome of this specific thing that you have in mind? So here's what I'm going to share with you in my own situation, and this comes down to fitness for me, right? And this is a metaphor for all things, right? We've all done this in certain areas of our life. So when I was, so at certain times, right, like when I've been pursuing a physical goal, and not just in bodybuilding, I used to do competitive CrossFit and races and things like that. So there have been times where I pushed so hard, I pushed my body so hard that I got hurt, right? That I got hurt and then had to stop training altogether. Anybody who is like a fitness person has done this at some point, right? Like you've done it in your sport, you've done it in the gym, you've done it in some area of your training. So that's the wrong way, where I've pushed so hard, pushed, and you know, right? Your body is telling you that it needs rest. Your body is telling you that you need a break. You're kind of feeling something, but you do it anyway. And then all of a sudden you're hurt, right? I've hurt my hips. I've torn a lat. I've had injuries several times. Now, in those situations, had I just made some adjustments, made some tweaks, slowed down, but did not stop, it's very likely that I would not have gotten hurt and then been out for 6 months or a year or whatever, right? And then had to start all over again. How often in your life do you have to stop and start all over again? This is where the frustration comes in. This is where we start to lose belief in ourselves. This is where the burnout and the overwhelm in your personal life, right? When you have to stop and start again in your business life, if you have a business, right? This is where it gets frustrating, right? And that's one way to do it the wrong way. The other way is quitting. The other way is quitting. And I did this 5 years ago when I didn't turn pro right away, right? There was an arrogance almost about me, thinking that, it should have happened quicker. And I told myself this story, like, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. And so I fired my coach, or didn't rehire my coach. And then a couple months later decided, I can do it on my own. But really I had quit and I couldn't do it on my own. I've told you that story before. That's another arrogant thing. That's a way, by the way, of thinking. That's an amateur way of thinking that many high performers have before they shift into a pro mindset. Right? Because when you're driven, when you're a high performer, it's you typically get like what looks like to other people like 100% results. You typically look like you're at a 10 all the time because it's easier for you to get results because you are driven, right? So from the outside looking in, people are like, wow, you're accomplishing more than I ever would. But if you're driven and you're a high performer on the inside, you know that you're not even close to your potential. You know that you're not even close. And that will burn you up inside because you know that you've got more, right? You know you've got more inside of you. So when I quit back in 5 years ago when I was working with Fred, and I quit because it didn't happen quick enough for me, and I told myself this story of I need to take off for a couple of months. The truth is, had I not quit and I just said to my coach, I want to pull back on my training and my diet for a couple of weeks so I can recalibrate and like then let's pick our next show. I don't want to compete, you know, in 2 weeks, which is what the plan was going to be. And I was like, oh, I'm done, right? Had I said and had that conversation with myself and also my coach that I just want to slow down for a couple of weeks, had I said that, what might have happened that year? I most likely would have turned pro. It was part of the plan and I was on track to do it. In fact, other girls that I had competed with and placed higher, they ended up turning pro that year. So my point here is you can see how both extremes do not work. Quitting and then overdoing it, over pushing. So it's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle where there's certain times in your life, whether it's with a physical fitness goal like I just shared, whether it's in your business, whether it's in a relationship, right? Think about the relationship, you know, that you're like over trying to fix everything, right? Like, and smothering and pushing a person away. We've all had that experience on either end, right? What if you just slowed down and made some tweaks, gave it some space, and then revisited the subject matter? Same thing in your business. I see this happen with people all the time. They don't get the result in 6 months. They're not making the money they want in a year, and they quit. And I know this to be true. As long as you don't quit, you will not fail. As long as you don't quit, you will not fail. And that's the truth. So the right way to do this is to make tweaks, make adjustments, and slow down at certain points if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with slowing down on the way to your goal at certain points. It's not about constantly being pulled back and not giving it, you know, your best effort. That's not what we're talking about. But when you stay tuned in to yourself, your body, the results that are showing up around you, your feelings, they will give you the indication of whether or not it's time for you to slow down for a day or a week. So last week, the couple of weeks building up to last week, I was feeling my body like really starting to be constricted, right? And I get regular massages, I get regular chiropractic. And the chiropractor was even saying, you know, wow, I'm not able to adjust your back. Your back is really contracted, right? Like your muscles are really, you know, tight. And the old me would have pushed through, right? I talk about being pulled forward by your vision or pushing to try and create it. Right? The old me would have been pushing because I'm going to make my pro debut, right? And I want to look my best. I want to be competitive, right? In early 2020. So the old me would have pushed. But I've also learned, right, that not only do I get to make some tweaks, I don't quit, but I get to make some tweaks and I get to do it on my terms. And so I messaged my coach and I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to take the week off from lifting. I'm going to stay in my chiropractic, my massage, and my body is feeling like it wants to move a little bit differently. It needs to open up a little bit more. So I did yoga classes. I did Zumba, which was like the first time ever. And now I'm going to be doing Zumba like once or twice a week because it was so much fun, right? And that's what happens when you open up yourself to another way, another adjustment, right? Like now I've got something else to put in my cookie jar. Did you watch the video yesterday? So instead of stopping altogether or continuing to push, I made some adjustments. And yesterday when I went back to the gym, I felt amazing because I love to be at the gym. Love to be at the gym. It's like my happy place. I love lifting. I love making myself feel strong. Always have. And so that, that's what fires me up. So I got to get back to what I love doing and feel so much better because I just slowed down, made some adjustments. And now because of that, my results will probably be even better this month and through next month. So look at your life and say, where can I just slow down a little bit but not quit? Where can I, make adjustments or little tweaks but not quit? So whatever your goal is, if it's weight loss, if it's a fitness goal, if it's to start a business or make money in your business, if it's to get a promotion, if it's, to improve your relationship or even to have a relationship, ask yourself, am I pushing too hard or am I not doing enough? Like, have I quit? Have I pulled back? It's not so much about balance, so to speak, because we're going to continue to talk about this idea of balance in this group, because like if you want high performance results in an area of your life, when you're pursuing that specific thing, it's not going to quote unquote be a balanced life, because you are going to be giving more attention to that thing, right? Like as I'm training to turn pro, there are like a couple of months where most of my attention is all on my training, my diet, and the rest of my life, including my business, gets to be scheduled around it. So it's not about balance in that way. Like I'm giving, 50% here and 50% there. But it's within the pursuit of that big goal, there are little tweaks and adjustments that you get to make along the way. So whatever your goal is, ask yourself, am I pushing too much or have I completely given up? And how can I find my way back so that I can be focused on my goal until I achieve it? And here's the thing, as a high performer, the glory's not even really in achieving the goal, because you're always going to set the next one. I mean, that's life, right? We are constantly improving and living. We don't just achieve something and then stop and do nothing. So the beauty or the trick, the key is really to find joy along the way. To find joy along the way as you're being pulled forward by the vision. When you are connected to your vision and why you're doing it, the joy is pursuing it along the way. So yesterday I posted in here a link, or not a link, but I posted a comment from somebody else who just had a VIP day with me. I've got one more VIP day open in September. If you've been watching me, if you've been thinking about working with me so that you can create a quantum leap result this year and into next year that you wouldn't be able to do on your own, then you want to grab that last VIP day spot with me. So let me know in the comments if you're interested, and we'll reach out to you personally. Have a great weekend, and whatever it is that you are pursuing, have some joy along the way. Have a great rest of the day. I think I said weekend. I'll see you tomorrow right here in the group. Bye.